The dense canopy of the jungle hung heavy above, its verdant leaves swaying gently in the humid breeze. The air was thick with the sounds of unseen creatures, chirps, growls, and the rustling of leaves. It was the heart of the jungle, a place untouched by the hands of civilization, where only the most resilient dared to venture. In the midst of this untamed wilderness, an ancient secret lay buried, hidden for centuries beneath the roots of towering trees and the shadow of forgotten temples. It was a secret that had been lost to time, guarded by the dense underbrush and the creatures that called the jungle home. And it was about to be discovered once more. A small group of explorers, led by the determined and curious Dr. Elias Monroe, trekked through the jungle with a singular mission: to uncover the lost tribe of the Zatari. The Zatari had vanished without a trace centuries ago, their civilization swallowed by the relentless growth of the jungle. No one had been able to find evidence of their existence, until now. Dr. Monroe had spent years piecing together fragments of old maps, ancient texts, and whispered stories passed down through generations. The legend of the Zatari tribe had fascinated him ever since he was a young scholar. Tales told of a civilization so advanced in their knowledge of nature and the spiritual world that they had transcended time itself. But no one had ever returned from the jungle with proof. "Are we close?" asked Emily, one of the expedition's young archaeologists, glancing nervously at the thick foliage that seemed to stretch on forever. She wiped the sweat from her brow, the oppressive heat of the jungle making every step feel like a small battle. "We're close," Dr. Monroe assured her, his voice steady, though his eyes betrayed a hint of excitement. "The map points to this area. If the legends are true, we're standing on the precipice of one of the greatest discoveries in history." As the group moved deeper into the jungle, the air seemed to grow heavier, the path less distinguishable. The trees loomed like giants, their massive trunks winding upward, branches intertwining above them to form an impenetrable ceiling of leaves. The jungle floor was a maze of roots and rocks, making each step a calculated risk. The group moved with caution, knowing that every misstep could lead them deeper into danger. The team pressed on for hours, each moment feeling like an eternity. But just as fatigue began to settle in, something changed. The air grew cooler, and the sounds of the jungle seemed to fade away, replaced by an eerie silence. Dr. Monroe held up his hand, signaling for the group to stop. His heart raced in his chest. In the distance, barely visible through the thick vegetation, something was there. A shadow, a shape, something that didn't belong in the natural order of the jungle. "Do you see that?" he whispered, his voice filled with awe. Emily squinted, her eyes narrowing as she tried to make sense of the silhouette. "It looks like a structure?" The group gathered closer, their curiosity overcoming their exhaustion. As they moved toward the shape, the jungle seemed to part before them, as if the very earth itself was guiding them to the hidden secret. And then they saw it, a massive stone structure, partially hidden by vines and moss, but unmistakable in its form. It was a temple, ancient and weathered by time, but still standing tall against the jungle's relentless growth. "This is it," Dr. Monroe breathed, his voice a mixture of disbelief and excitement. "We've found it." The temple stood at the center of a clearing, its stone walls etched with intricate carvings, depicting scenes of nature and mysticism. Symbols of animals, celestial bodies, and what appeared to be humans in ceremonial dress adorned the structure. The Zatari were said to have worshipped the forces of nature, communicating with the animals and the elements themselves. "This could be the breakthrough we've been searching for," said Sarah, the team's historian, her voice trembling with anticipation. She stepped forward, running her fingers lightly over the carvings, tracing the ancient symbols. "If we can decipher these, we might learn everything there is to know about the Zatari." But as Sarah's hand brushed the stone, something unexpected happened. The ground beneath their feet trembled, just slightly, like the faintest tremor of an earthquake. The team froze, their eyes wide with alarm. "What was that?" Emily whispered. Before anyone could respond, a low rumble filled the air, followed by a strange, deep sound, like the growl of a distant animal. But this sound was unlike anything any of them had ever heard before. The ground continued to shake as the stone walls of the temple groaned and shifted. A section of the wall, almost imperceptible to the eye, began to move, sliding open like a massive door. And as the door revealed its dark, hollow interior, a wave of cold air rushed out, carrying with it the scent of ancient dust and something else. Something older than time. Dr. Monroe's heart pounded in his chest, his breath quickening. This was what they had been searching for, the entrance to the hidden heart of the Zatari.
But the jungle was not done with them yet.